Good morning. Thank you, thank you. Ask, please read the roll call, please.
Okay, this will be the Committee of the Whole. President Lucas,
Present.
Mayor Biassiata,
Here. Here.
Mr. Joyce.
Here.
He's virtual, so he is not in attendance. And just a reminder, if the board would hit your mic so that everyone online can hear you respond to the roll calls and the votes. Mayor Kumar,
Here.
Ms. Mersman,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Present.
and Ms. Welch.
Here.
We have 7 committee members present.
Thank you very much. Executive session has been requested. May I have a motion?
Motion Welch.
And that motion would be to consider the appointment of a public employee or official.
All
Okay.
right.
It was moved by Welch.
Second.
All right.
Call the roll?
Okay. President Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Biassiata,
Yes.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Mersman,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
and Ms. Welch.
Yes.
You have 7 ayes and none opposed.
All right. Who do we have then?
As far as executive session for staff to remain, we'd like
Again,
Are we on?
are we on? Okay, we're good.
May we have a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved. Mayor Rice?
Second.
All right. Teresa?
All right. President Lucas,
Yes?
Mayor Biassiata,
Yes. Yes.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Mersman,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss.
Yes.
And Ms. Welch.
Yes.
You have 7 ayes and none opposed.
Thank you very much. We are convening now to hear nominations for the office of Vice President. We have a vacancy in that position, and now I consider and will put it on the table for nominations for Vice President for our board. Are there any nominations? Ms. Welch?
Yes, I would like to nominate Mayor Kumar.
Mayor Kumar has been nominated.
Second. Mayor
A
Rice?
second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Being there's just one, I will declare then that Mayor Kumar is our new vice president. Give him a cheer.
Oh. President Lucas,
Now we'll vote.
we need to have either a roll call or
Yeah,
all in
that's why I
favor,
said.
any opposed?
That's why I said we'll now have a roll call.
Okay. President Lucas?
Yes.
Okay. Mayor Biassiata?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Mayor Kumar?
Abstain.
You can vote for yourself, you know. Ms. Mersman?
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman?
Yes.
Mayor Weiss?
Yes.
And Ms. Welch?
Yes.
Okay, I think we had 6 ayes and none opposed. It passes.
Thank you very much. We already gave him a cheer. All right. We'll now hear from the Civilian Oversight Committee, Dr.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Chairman Lucas and members of the board. I am Flauntse Caver, the Chief Operating Officer for the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority. And today it's my pleasure to present on behalf of the Ad Hoc Selection Committee an overview and recommendation of the inaugural COC members. The Civilian Oversight Committee had, over the last year and a half, a project schedule that detailed out our expectations of when we would be able to achieve this Civilian Oversight Committee. The work of this board to approve operating procedures and to add to our code book, this Civilian Oversight Committee has been tremendous. Today, we're in phase 3B, which is to appoint 7 members of the CLC. If those 7 members are to proceed forward, we'll have phase 4 and 5, which are the control and close project phase, but it'll be where we'll do the training. And our expectation is that by January 1, this committee will become operational. To provide a review, the Civilian Oversight Committee's job will be to review and investigate public complaints filed against GCRTA police employees and to make recommendations. The recommendations must be consistent with GTRTA/transit police rules, policies, procedures, as well as the collective bargaining agreement. Police oversight has several benefits, and it makes it such that we increase the public trust, the trust between the public and their police departments. Several of the items that are important is that it will increase police accountability, identify areas and offer options to improve policing, and foster communication between the community and the police. This committee had several qualifications, and I'll read them. First, the ability to remain objective and unbiased, the ability to reflect our customer base. The members needed to be at least 18 years of age, residents of Cuyahoga County with no criminal history, and a general understanding of GCRTA and transit police services. There was a detailed committee selection process, which started with the candidates providing a written application letting us know that they wanted to be a part of the Civilian Oversight Committee. Those initial applications went through a screening committee to filter out unqualified candidates. And then we moved to the Ad Hoc Selection Committee, which was chaired by board member Welsh and had two other participants, Mayor Kumar and Mayor Weiss. The Board of Trustees will make the final appointment from the Ad Hoc Selection Committee's recommended candidates. The committee's composition. This committee is made up of 7 individuals from diverse communities within Cuyahoga County. At least one of the committee members must be a retired police officer with an OPATA training and investigative experience. They will be selected by application to the CLC by the Board of Trustees, and the terms of the CLC members shall be staggered. There will be 3 initial appointments for 3 years, 2 initial appointments for 2 years, and 2 initial appointments for 1 year. The Ad Hoc Selection Committee recommends the following candidates for the initial 3-year terms. Elise Allville. Elise has served as Assistant Public Defender in both Philadelphia and Cleveland and served as an Associate Counsel for GCRTA from 1997 to 2003. Elise was also the former Chief of Staff to Mayor Justin Bibb. Elise is currently the Human Resources Consultant for EHA Solutions and has held that position for 8 years. Jacola Gordon. Jacola has been a member of various community organizations, including the Cuyahoga County Child Fatality Review Committee, the Alliance for Hope International, and the Alcohol, Drug, Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board. Jacola currently works as a program specialist for the Cuyahoga County Public Safety and Justice Services and has held that role for 13 years. George Taylor. Mr. Taylor is the OPATA trained and retired police officer on the committee. George is a retired uniformed police officer who served the Toledo Police Department for more than 30 years. After retiring from service as a police officer, George continued to serve the community in various roles, such as the Director of Public Safety and Justice Services for Cuyahoga County, and the Chief Deputy of the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. The Ad Hoc Selection Committee recommends the following candidates for the initial 2-year terms. Timothy Clary. Timothy has experience working as an attorney in a private firm handling litigation, as well as serving as an assistant prosecuting attorney for Cuyahoga County. Presently, Timothy is working as an assistant public defender in the Cuyahoga County Public Defender's Office. Stephen Sims. Stephen has engaged in public service throughout Cuyahoga County and Cleveland in various roles, including at GCRTA as the Director of the Office of Small Business Development. Stephen currently serves as the President and CEO of the Greater Cleveland Community Credit Union, a financial institution focused on serving the unbanked and underserved communities of Cuyahoga County. The Ad Hoc Selection Committee recommends the following candidates for the initial 1-year term. David Morris. David has 20+ years of HR experience with job duties and responsibilities, including handling investigations of employee misconduct and citizen complaints. David presently works as the Human Resource Manager for the City of Bedford Heights. Rebecca Wharton. Rebecca presently works as the HR Manager for Malachite Innovations and has responsibility and oversight of over 60 company clients. Rebecca has a history of working in a multitude of HR-related positions, including the management of all aspects of HR duties and responsibilities. Rebecca also worked as a constituent liaison for the state of Ohio's Department of Public Safety. On behalf of the Ad Hoc Selection Committee, staff requests that the Committee of the Whole recommend to the Board of Trustees the appointment of 7 recommended candidates as members of the Civilian Oversight Committee.
Do we have any questions? Comments? Yes. From
Thank
our
you.
CEO.
Thank you so much. More of a comment than of a question. Just wanted to say thank you to those that are up for appointment today, and thank you to the staff and to the team that's done an amazing job to be able to get to this point. As Dr. Caver mentioned, this has been in the works for over a year, and dare I say a little bit more than that as just an idea. And of course, to the board, we appreciate your service, definitely your hours of time, and also your stick-to-itiveness to allow us to get to this point. I think that it's of note that we're doing this out of proactivity, not out of dire circumstance. I think that's something that's important, especially in today's climate, and to understand that as you're up on the dais and talking and listening today, as prospective members, you're part of that team and you're part of that effort. So being able to keep up with the pulse of the community, to make sure that the voices are heard of our constituency and our ridership is very important, and therefore so are you. So we appreciate that, and thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering, Doc, if you might introduce, they're all here, introduce them so we can see which one is which.
Okay, I can. So I'm told they're all here, but I haven't met them all, so I'm going to read the names in order. Miss Elise Alville, if you could stand, please. Welcome.
Welcome.
Jacola Gordon, if you could stand, please. Welcome. George Taylor, if you could stand, please. Welcome. Timothy Clary. Welcome. Stephen Sims. Welcome. David Morris. Welcome. And Rebecca Wharton. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning.
Well, with that, do we have any other questions, comments? Okay, well, I move that the Committee of the Whole accept the recommendation of the Board's Ad Hoc Selection Committee and refer the appointment of the initial 7 members of the Civilian Oversight Committee to the full Board. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Sleesman.
Ms.
have a
Welch,
second?
you made the motion.
Oh, yes, I did. Thank you so much. All in favor?
And Sleesman second?
Seconds,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Any opposed? Roll call?
President Lucas?
Yes.
Mayor Biassiata?
Yes.
Mayor Kumar?
Yes.
Ms. Mersman?
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman?
Yes.
Mayor Weiss?
Yes.
And Ms. Welch?
Yes.
You have 7 ayes and none opposed.
With this, the Civilian Oversight Committee moves to the full Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Lucas, again, and members of the board. For those at home, I am Flance Caver, the Chief Operating Officer here at the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority. Today, I'll be presenting on behalf of the Ad Hoc Selection Committee the Code of Conduct for appointed committee members of the board, and I'm here with John Sulik from our legal department. As we discussed prior, there was conversation in the Ad Hoc Selection Committee that there could be benefit from and value from a code of conduct. The code of conduct will allow us to create the expectations from committee members, not only the Civilian Oversight Committee, but any committee that's created by the board. And so today we want to present to you the final product of our legal department, which took into consideration some of the discussion in the ad hoc committee, as well as research, so that we could create a code of conduct that would be effective for those members appointed by the board to committees to serve here at the Greater Cleveland RTA. The code of conduct has 12 components, and I'll read them. First, I will be present for all required meetings of my committee to the extent possible. Number 2, I will take the necessary steps to be informed about issues being considered by my committee. Number 3, I will respect the rights, dignity, and worth of all citizens, peers, public officials, and GCRTA employees. 4, I will be a positive role model and actively promote public confidence in GCRTA through my actions. 5, I will welcome, respect, and consider divergent points of view. 6, My language, manner, preparation, and follow-through will demonstrate courtesy and professionalism. 7, I will not represent myself as having any greater authority than that of a committee member. 8, I will carefully avoid conflicts of interest and will refrain from taking any actions that may be perceived as conflicts of interest. 9, I will accept feedback from the board in order to offer the most effective service in my role. 10, I will not accept any compensation for my service to GCRTA other than that which may be authorized by the board, and I will not accept anything of value from any third party for performing my duties. 11, I will not make any effort to influence board members or GCRTA officials or employees to act in a manner benefiting my personal and/or financial interest. And 12, I understand that failure to adhere to this code of conduct may result in my dismissal or non-reappointment. In addition to the code of conduct, there's a need to have an accompanying oath. The oath has been created, similar to the board members' oaths, but it's been created by our legal department. And it reads, I, appointed committee member, do hereby solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that I will honestly, faithfully, and impartially perform the duties required of me as a member of the Civilian Oversight Committee of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority. On behalf of the Ad Hoc Selection Committee, staff's request that the Committee of the Whole vote to adopt a code of conduct for any board-appointed committee comprised of members of the public.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions, comments? All right. Well, I move that the Committee of the Whole require that each public member of a board-appointed committee be required to take an oath of office and sign a code of conduct in order to serve on a board-appointed committee. Do I have a second motion?
Second.
Thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Teresa, roll call.
Okay. President Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Biassiata,
Yes.
Mayor Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Mersman,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
and Ms. Welch. We
Yes.
have 7 ayes and none opposed.
Thank you, Teresa. The code of conduct now moves to the full board. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Welsh.
Yes.
The action that you guys took will be the required need, so the code of conduct is now adopted.
It's now adopted. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
It's now adopted.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. This completes my presentations.
All right. Want to adjourn your committee? Adjourn your committee.
Do we need to move out of this?
Adjourn your committee.
Do I have a motion to adjourn this committee meeting of the whole?
Moved. Mayor Weiss.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
All right. Call to order the Board of Trustee meeting for September the 26th. May we hear the roll call?
Mayor Biassiata,
Here.
Mayor Kumar,
Here?
President Lucas,
Here?
Ms. Mersman,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
and Ms. Welch.
Here.
Mr. Joyce is virtual, so he is not counted as in attendance. You have 7 board members present. You have a quorum.
Certification?
Mr. President, I first advise that notice of this meeting has been posted more than 24 hours in advance of the meeting, that the usual notification has been given the news media and other interested persons, and that all requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and rules and bylaws of this board regarding notice of meeting have been complied with.
Thank you. May we approve the August 29th board meeting minutes? Have a motion?
Motion Welch.
Second?
Second, Mayor Weiss.
Thank you. Teresa?
All in favor? You
All
wanna
those
ask
in
any
favor?
opposed? Okay.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you very much. We now have public comments, 2 minutes. First, anybody here for public comments? Anybody, and please go to the podium. You're on.
You want me to speak now? Okay. I wanted to talk about the conduct of your bus drivers. I come in contact every day because I'm on the bus all the time. And I see some very bad things they do. And they probably don't even realize it until they get, pointed out. And then maybe you guys can see it through my eyes or their eyes, whatever. That's up to you. But I noticed that because of where it started at, with people being in the bus lane, and the bus gets behind it, and they know they can only get through the light on a certain time, and they just hammer the horn. They just hammer it. And because of that, over the months and whatever process of time, they hammer the horn over everything now. I mean, just a little stuff. They don't move at the light in 3 seconds. They are on the horn like crazy. And that's a nasty way to deliver your service to the city. Terrible. And that brings a very bad spirit to you and everybody else around you. And they look at you like, what's going on? What, are you being a big bully? And that's all you are. It's a big old thing bullying people out of their way. And that ain't right. And that's what's happening out there. That's just one step of the way. And because of that spirit in them, then they treat people like me coming on the bus a little bit inadequate also with their personality, And their personality shouldn't be that way. They should be generally serving the public with a kind of nice disposition if they're possible. And, I know we're not perfect, but, man, I'm telling you the stuff I have to go through just getting on the bus sometimes and getting off the bus and the process in between just isn't right. And mainly it's because of this stupid horn, for one thing. All right? So if you correct that and work on the other issues, I got a feeling you might get somewhere.
Sir, did you want to state your name for the record?
Anybody else? Mr. President.
We have one caller.
All right. One caller.
Okay, go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, caller, on 0387.
This is Eric Stewart, and today on September 26th, you still do not have the Community Advisory Committee put in place for the purpose of having the public have a voice on the activities for the healthy pursuits of public transit for the Regional Transit Authority. Today, you're still running commercial ads on radio and television referencing the pursuits of running to the library, shopping, and other activities through on public transit, but you have not reflected any study, anything to the public that any one of you Board of Trustees members have done to study the repeated requests put in the 15A route. The 15A route comes within 3 blocks of 5 taxpayer-funded neighborhood public libraries. It comes within 3 blocks of 5 hospitals. It comes within 3 blocks of 5 shopping centers, including Shaker Square, which gets $12 million from the city in order to be renovated and bring in more people from the public. And this hourly bus would serve the public well, but your Board of Trustees will not study the matter. Your planner, Joel Freilich, and your Chief of Operations, Flonce Cavers, have been negligent, intentional in the study of this matter, and this bus route should be put in place, along with the 48A be put back in place, since most of the route for the 48 and what would be the 48A is north of miles, approximately 7 miles worth of route where most people are getting on and off of the bus. The number 50 bus should start at Marymount Hospital from its southeastern point And this was served in all three of those buses. The 48A, the 48, and the 50 could end at their most northern point over at 93rd, where the 48 and the 50 are ending now to better serve the public. But you have chosen to be negligent, and this is a terrible treatment of the public with taxpayers.
In the back,
taxpayer
that is
dollars,
2
which will all-
minutes. Do we have any more callers?
No more callers.
All right. And there are no comments on the web form, President Lucas.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any reports from any of the ad hoc committee members or chairman of any other boards? Anything, anybody? All right. If not, Mr. Fields? New hires and promotions.
All right, good morning, Mr. President, Ms. Birdsong Terry, members of the board. I'm George Fields, Deputy General Manager for Human Resources. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our new hires and promotions for September. We'll start with our new hires, with Brian Schultz, construction engineer, Carla Schober, IT trainer analyst, Edgar Ryan, equipment servicer, Hostlers William Slade, Tyron Carlisle, Jonathan Bruce, facilities manager Daniel O'Malley, transit police officers Elijah Bala, Eric Hahn, Felix Lopez, Ashley Santa, and Heather Bruner, transit ambassador Alicia Miller, laborers Jeffrey Pickett, LaShawn Ligon, Tanisha Robinson, Romel Ramsey, Dynasty Fields, no relation, laborers Dantes Frost, Nicole Blevins as an operator, other operators as Brian Cotter, Marshall Morris, Terrence Beavers, Jacqueline Baines, Chatira Walker, Kenneth Lamar, Simone Woods, additional operators Camille McCoy, Takesha Sawyers, DeJuan Payne, Damascus Williams, David Perry, Ariel Terrell, Derica Sutton, Lorenzo Curry, Jessica Vissens, and remaining operators, Melise Rowdy and Carl C. Now for our promotions, we have Sherelle Scott, training coordinator, Gerald Waite, service quality supervisor cross-train, Elaine Douglas, claims investigator, Maurice Goodwin, crew chief, Kathleen McGurvey, engineering project manager, and Latrell Moats, hostler. Mr. President, those are our new hires and promotions. Please join me in congratulating these wonderful people.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
We now have our resolutions. Resolution 282372.
Expressing appreciation to Karen Gabrielle Moss for her service as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority and extending best wishes for many years to come.
All right, I have a formal presentation to be sent to her for her many years of hard work on this board, ending as vice president. And any discussion at all? All right, we have a motion.
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second?
Second. Sorry.
Second? All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passing this on to make sure it is delivered over to Karen today with our best wishes. 2373.
Initial appointments of the 7 members to the Civilian Oversight Committee.
Motion?
Motion Welch.
Second?
Second, Mersman.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. 2374.
Delegating to the General Manager, Chief Executive Officer, the authority to authorize change orders up to $6,500,000 under contract number 2021-125, the purchase of replacement rail cars.
Motion?
Motion Welch.
Any discussion? Discussion.
Just one point, Chair, as we've discussed in the past, periodic updates through the CEO, General Manager in her report will keep the board informed as we move through the change order process, which on a large project like this is inevitable. Hopefully there's some deducts with the ads, but we'll work through it. But we thought in internal audit that it was very important to get updates throughout, and I think your monthly report is a great place for that.
All right, anything else?
President, we need a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I do want to make the statement, I make it each time, that it looks like we're just rushing through this. These have already been through committee, they've been through staff, they've been exhausted. And so when we get to this point, this is the end of the legislative part of our decision. 2375.
All right. Authorizing contract number 2023-98 with Cook Paving and Construction Company Incorporated for Project 19.48 Triscuit Maintenance Facility Roadway Improvements in an amount not to exceed $237,680, RTA Development Fund Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved, Mayor Weiss.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you very much. 2376.
Authorizing contract number 2023-109 with Apex Construction and Management Company Incorporated for project number 19.76 Triscuit Garage Overhead Door Replacement in an amount not to exceed $134,750, RTA Capital Fund Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
The motion?
So moved Welch.
Second?
Second, Sleesman.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, aye? Opposed, no. Thank you. 2377.
Authorizing contract number 2023-130 with Holland LP to provide track geometry testing services in an amount not to exceed $420,500 for a period of 5 years, General Fund, Power and Way, Department budget.
Motion, please.
So move, Mersman.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. 2378.
Removing Chapter 462, Private Sector Participation from the Codified Rules and Regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Motion?
So move, Mersman.
Thank you. Second?
Second, Sleesman.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you very much. 2379.
Removing Section 648.07, Safety Policy, and amending Chapter 1098, Commitment on Environmental Policy of the Codified Rules and Regulations of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority, and amending Personnel Policy 600.07, Safety Policy.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you very much. 2380.
Authorizing the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority to enter into a 5-year license agreement with Lamar Advertising of Youngstown Incorporated, DBA, Lamar Advertising of Cleveland, Ohio, for outdoor advertising structures at 5 locations on GCRTA property.
All right. Is there a motion? Motion?
A motion, but then discussion.
Yeah, I would discussion. There might be comments.
Second.
Any comment?
Yes, if I may interject for a moment with comments. We wanted to make sure that we were able to support any questions that the board may have for this particular item. We did have a conversation with the committee chair, Mayor Kumar, to go over the details of what you have in front of you. A lot of this resolution comes down to timing, to make sure that we remain consistent with our contracting with Lamar Advertising for Billboard. We do have a couple of our resident experts in the audience today. We've got Jim Reed, if you want to raise your hand, our real estate manager that handled the majority, if not the bulk of the contract, in counsel with Don Tarka from legal. So they are here to be able to answer any questions or even give a mini presentation verbally if you so choose.
If you could just provide a quick overview, that would be great, Jim. This is sort of what we did on the call last week, and I know I was able to start getting around a few board members to update you, but not everyone, so I think it would be the appropriate thing to do.
We anticipated that, so Jim, you're up.
Thank you. President Lucas, members of the board, my name is Jim Reed. I'm the property manager here at GCRTA. We're presenting this proposed license agreement with Lamar Advertising. It's for 5 billboard locations located on RTA land. The description, I just want to elaborate a little bit on the description. We're not licensing the structures or the billboards. We are licensing merely the land on which the billboards are erected and maintained. We are proposing to continue the relationship with Lamar, which has been successful over a number of years with no real issues, with the following terms and conditions. 1, a term of 5 years beginning October 1st, 2023 through September 30, 2028. Formally removing one of the locations, there were 6, now there are 5, due to Lamar's inability to maintain its permit with the City of Cleveland. We are increasing the fees to $112,300 per year from $105,000 per year for a total of $561,500 over the full 5-year term. The payment schedule is modified from quarterly payments to monthly payments. And finally, the new agreement incorporates the authority's new advertising policies and administrative procedures. I'm here for any questions.
And I know we talked in a call that this was a market rate based on your analysis of other sites in Cleveland, and it was a good going rate for the authority.
Yeah, although these rates had been established previously with Lamar, they are competitive, and they do provide. We're looking at an 8% increase over the previous agreement.
The other thing I asked to be put in the packet is the advertising policy. I don't believe Cassie and Jeff were here last year when the board reviewed that and made some changes to it, so I included that in the packets as well, so you understood what the RTA policy was on that as well.
If I may, I definitely want to make sure that we bring that to the attention. Absolutely correct, Mayor Kumar. The advertising guidelines have been in heavy rotation since they were adopted by the board. They're very helpful for us as we start to be able to really hone in on some of our specific advertising and marketing contracts. I don't know if we have any comments on that by Natoya Walker-Minor. She's our deputy for external affairs, but I will say that I know we have not historically had those advertising guidelines in play as robustly as we do now, and they provide a great base for contracts like these.
None of the mics are working.
It was just in June of this year that we adopted our advertising guidelines, principally led by our Director of Marketing, Sharon Jenkins, who did a phenomenal job, tons of research, 10 transit authorities across the country, and working very closely with Don Tarka and the legal department as we move forward. We were sure to include the billboards. Prior to, the billboards were not, and still remain, not under the authority of the marketing department, but it is imperative that the advertising guidelines apply to the billboards as well.
And just a quick question for clarification, because this is our property, do we have exclusive rights to that advertising, or can anyone put their advertising there, and thus why we need to implement the advertising policy?
We essentially wanted to apply the advertising guidelines so we can ensure that the messaging is on target and within our own brand guidelines. In my 2.5 years here, there have been occasions where there have been things that we did not want on our buses, in our shelters. And now that we know we have the billboards that we don't want on the billboards because people may associate those things with RTA. So it's more for brand awareness, to control our brand, to ensure that it's within connecting the community, those types of things. In addition, as we move forward with our advertisers, we have ongoing conversation, both Sharon and I, and when anything is potentially controversial, we'll have those conversations. When things have slipped, as they will, we'll have conversations, and we'll recommend and in fact mandate that they pull those things. We just did it just last week. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on that subject? All right, we have a motion. It's already on the floor. Second, any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
We need a motion
I
and
thought
a
we had a
second.
motion.
I
did
said
not hear
motion
that.
Welch. Motion Welch.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a motion.
I did not have it on record. Who
Yeah.
made
Second.
the second? Okay. Okay.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No, thank you very much. Hearing now, our Secretary Treasurer always delights us every month with good news.
Good morning, President Lucas, members of the board. This is Raj Gautam. I am the board's Secretary Treasurer. It's my pleasure to present the Secretary Treasurer report for August. We will begin by reviewing the general economic conditions, the inflation, and the interest rates by month. At the end of August 2023, the inflation rose to 3.7% from 3.2% in July 2023. The FOMC met on September 20th and decided to keep the target rate at 5.5% with an indication that they are likely to maintain the higher rates for the foreseeable future. They are scheduled to meet again on November 1st to discuss further actions. Interest rates, as we all know, are now at the highest level in 22 years. The August Metropolitan Statistical Area unemployment data will be released tomorrow, so we'll just recap the U.S. and the state of Ohio numbers. The Ohio unemployment rate increased to 3.8% in August compared to 3.5% in July. The Ohio's unemployment rate increased to 3.4% in August compared to 3.3% for the previous month. Looking at the ridership from the pre-pandemic levels through 2023 on a year-to-date basis, we still show a decline of approximately 33% from the pre-pandemic levels, although it is trending up. For August 2023, ridership was 16.3% above August 2022 levels. Passenger fares for August were 42.9% when compared to August 2022. And this variance is largely due to two factors. One was an increase in UPass revenue, and that, as I have stated previously, is a result of timing of when those payments come in. The other comparative, of course, is the mobile ticketing that showed a significant increase, and it's not so much the increase, it's what we are comparing it to last year. So in August 2022, we had transitioned from our previous mobile ticketing vendor Passport to Masabi's EasyFare, and there was an initial timing issue of when those credit card process payments, et cetera, were remitted. So we're comparing it to a very, very unusual base, and that accounts for the increase as far as August 23 numbers are concerned. Sales tax through September, this is once again based on June 2023 activity. 13.1% higher when compared to September 22. On a year-to-date basis, we're 4% higher when compared to 2022. Once again, 15 of the 23 categories that make up the sales tax base were positive in September. Online sales were 7.9% higher. Regular and statewide sales were 1.1% higher. Motor vehicles and watercraft were 19.5% higher. With that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Yes, Mayor?
Mayor Weiss.
Thank you for the presentation, Raj. A question. A few months back, I think you had shown a chart that showed ridership levels at other cities and comparing the rate of increase compared to other cities. Is that something you can update
I think
for next
if
month?
you'd recall, Mayor Weiss, thank you for that question. If you'd recall the discussion, the challenge that we were facing was that we only had limited information from the other transit authorities, and that was not available on a monthly basis. So once we got around to the issuances of the audit reports on the annual number, we continued to present that until all of them became available. We will revisit that later in the year to see if any of the mid-year fiscal year ends have become available, and certainly present that information.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? If not, thank you as always for
My pleasure, sir.
the
Thank
excellent
you.
report. Prior to the general manager, we're always glad when our chief of police is here, and she has two of her trusted staff with her. Chief, did you have anything to add today?
Good morning, Reverend Lucas and the board. With me is Deputy Chief Michael Gettings and Commander Orlando Hudson, who oversaw the COC implementation, along with Mr. Woodford, who was our project manager. I just want to say that I am excited and I am looking forward to meeting members of the COC, and I believe that this will be an experience that will be positive for all. I think that it's necessary in the 21st century that we adapt to 21st century policing. So I am looking forward to what this committee will bring to the table, and also what we can learn from them and what they can learn from us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Glad to have you present. Hearing now from our general manager, who's been all over the country since we saw her last. Her wisdom is invited and necessary every place. Glad to have you back.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Continue to serve, and very pleased to be able to lead the agency into the next evolution of policing, as mentioned by the chief. I will say before I begin, the COC is one step in our journey to be able to make sure that we retain the transparency and the confidence in the community. As was mentioned through a public comment that we had, it's actually a great springboard. We do expect to be able to bring the CAC to you next month, to be able to have both committees wrapped up in the fourth quarter of this year is our goal, and we are on track for that, so that we will be able to have both committees, the COC, Civilian Oversight, and the CAC, which is our Customer Advisory Committee, so to speak, more operational in nature, to be up and running in January of 2024. We are super excited about that. I know this has been a dream of a lot of us for years. I've been honored to be a part of that dream, to make it a reality. And you as a board have been very supportive, and the community has been very patient with us as well. We wanted to make sure we got it right. So we will be able to bring the CAC to you momentarily within the next 30 to 45 days. And I do expect for both of those committees to be up and running in first quarter of 2024. With that, I'll go ahead and get started. I also wanted to take a moment and thank member Karen Moss for her time on the board. She was here as a trusted board member for a little over 10 years, if I get that figure correct, and was representing her appointment by the county. And so we don't take it lightly. We understand that this is a very arduous and demanding board. We love our members, but we require a lot of them, and she definitely met that challenge on a consistent basis. So we appreciate Karen Moss Karen Gabriel Moss for her time. I just wanted to make sure I put that on the record as well. And of course, congratulations, Mayor Kumar. We look forward to your leadership as well in the vice president spot. One additional update, we will be coming back to you more than likely for our next meeting. We have incoming incumbent for the county. Deidre McPherson will be our newest board member. She is to be confirmed this evening at 5 o'clock. Just to be able to put that on the record as well. We look forward to having her join us at the next meeting. And then the additional incumbent after that over the next 30 days will likely be Stephen Love for the county as well. So we look forward to being able to fill those 2 seats with those county appointments, and then we will hear from the executive of who will follow in Karen Moss's stead after those 2 appointments are made. All right. Being able to get the housekeeping out of the way, I wanted to launch into a couple of the operational and legislative and community connections that we've been undertaking over the last 30 days. It would be remiss of me not to be able to highlight some of the activities of our transit police force. As you see in front of you, our transit police presented colors. It was the Police Honor Guard at our Cleveland Guardians. I always want to say Indians. I've got to think about that twice before I announce that. Cleveland Guardians against Tampa Bay Rays. And of course, Cleveland won, which we'll celebrate it again, but also being able to really showcase our transit police and their investment in the community. This is something that I really want to thank our deputy commander, our chief, of course, and our commander staff as we start to think about how to reinvest in those relationships. This is just an example of making sure that we get out there, so to speak, and really let folks know that our transit police are here to police not only our customers, but also the community, and this is a great example of that. I think it was a moment of pride. I think our own chief maybe teared up a little bit, and I think it's very well worth that effort and that emotion, because this is something that's a sense of pride for us all. So I just want to say congratulations to the team, and you guys look good. Also wanted to say that we had a little bit of celebration going on earlier this month in September. Of course, we had the waterfront line reopening celebration. This occurred down in the Flats. We had a myriad of folks that were able to join us to celebrate in the reopening of this service for the Brown season. Can't guarantee that we win every game, but we definitely are contributing to the mobility of getting those folks and those fans to the games. We had several folks, including our highlighted board president, that gave opening remarks. We had a few other folks from the Browns there, the city, and of course our own operational team, as well as engineering. And we did have a couple of pop-up guests from the legislative body as well, which we always appreciate, including Congresswoman Shontel Brown, State Representative Bride Rose Sweeney, and Cleveland City Council President Blaine A. Griffin. We also had 3 proclamations on hand that were sent in to us within 24 hours of that event. And I wanted to make sure that I said that on record, a big thank you to our delegation that always supports, whether they're there in spirit or in person. Those senators were Senator Antonio, Senator Dolan, Senator Huffman, Congressman Max Miller, and Congresswoman, of course, Shontel Brown, all presented proclamations to GCRTA in recognition of the reopening of the waterfront line. So we have that in the marketing archives, and we continue to pound the pavement in DC and Columbus through our partners. And to that end, we also are planning a legislative update within the first quarter of the year to this body through our advocacy group, so that you have an idea of what's going on in the Senate, the House, and otherwise. So thank you to the team. Great job on getting that service back up and running. We also had a lot of external activity going on down in Columbus. The Ohio Needs Transit Conference, not to be mistaken for the Ohio Loves Transit, that's in February. This one was in the fall, in September. You'll see we have a couple group shots. We wanted to highlight a lot of our staff members and board. Jeff Sleesman supported us in that. We appreciate you for that and making the drive. We had a lot of presentations by our planning division talking about microtransit and the availability of mobility and ease through the business community. We also had service management there, and we also had our marketing division, which showed up en masse to be able to understand how best to use digital marketing and internal customer interface as well as external. You'll see a lot of those folks there pictured. We appreciate you all for spending the time, and dare I say, I think that we are rising to the top of the heap at a state level to be able to look at best practices. And we get a lot of conversation to say, hey, how is it working in Cleveland? How can we do better? And vice versa. So it's a great opportunity for exposure for us. Also, we had some more travel going on, this time to Findlay, Ohio, which is about 2.5 hours out of Cleveland. We had some representation there, of course. We appreciate Mayor Weiss for making that drive as well. It's also always great to be able to highlight the board support so that you have an understanding of, again, how taxing it can be, but also satisfying to serve on this board. We had presentations by operations. Dr. Flonse Caver, you heard from him earlier today, and also Kathleen McGurvey, who was one of our newest promotions, I believe, on George's slide for HR, representing engineering. So the two of them teamed up and really were able to give a great presentation, compelling. We hope to be able to seek out $26.7 million of track funding over the next 4 years toward our light rail project for rehab. And we had several questions, which to me is always a good thing. That means we have interest. There's very much a conversation of rural versus urban, public transit versus highway. Those are the kind of things that are on the deck there when we go up against our presentation competition, so to speak. But it's always healthy. And I will say a special shout out to NOACA, our local MPO. They had their list of projects, and we are #1 on their list. So that was a great segue into our request for funding. So we'll keep our eyes and ears to the ground to be able to figure out what is the result of our presentation in the coming weeks. Also wanted to be able to say that we actually have secured great funding. We were successful through the Ohio Transit Partnership Program, also known as OTP2. We were able to secure 2 different grants toward funding of rail vehicles and electric vehicle planning. $12.4 million is what we received toward replacement of rail cars. We were having a little bit of a back and forth internally about how many rail cars that actually gets us. And it doesn't get you the full 3, but it's very well on its way. We have an 80-20% sort of rule where we have to be able to match up at 20%. So that almost gets us to 3 full rail cars. And I believe that we're well on our way to be able to say we've got it for those 3 rail cars. And then we also have $200,000 given through the grant towards funding electric vehicle planning. Remember, we have a lot of our vehicles are compressed natural gas, CNG, as well as diesel hybrid. So we actually have not entertained the electric or EV vehicles yet, but that is part of our long-term strategic plan. So this goes a long way to making sure that we can make that happen in future years.
We need to give that a cheer. That's wonderful. It came in. Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much. And then we also wanted to give an update on Esperanza. This is a Fiesta of Hope Scholarship Gala that we had several of our staffers attend. You'll see them pictured there to the left. This is really connecting the community at its best. When we're talking about DEI and we're talking about diversity and really language as well and communication, understanding some of the pillars in the community are really rooted in the idea that we've got to make sure that people have their voice heard. Esperanza does a great job at that, also melding that through education efforts, and then how can we support that as a mobility expert within the region. We had several staffers in attendance and team members and also leaders of our ERG, or our internal employee resource group, Latinos Unidos, or Latinos United, and you'll see them mentioned here. Again, Jeff Sleesman up to bat for our board to be able to lend support from our board of trustees, and we appreciate the gentleman and lady that's mentioned here to be able to lead the charge in those conversations. I believe this is my last slide, my last slide today. I just always want to let you know where I am and what groups I am affiliated with on behalf of RTA. I was inducted into the In Council with Women annual meeting, at their annual meeting. That was held at the Shoreby Club. This is really just an honor for me to be among the 180 women leaders in Northeast Ohio. It's really a great opportunity to be able to push the needle as far as community connections and really take advantage of the opportunities I have serving as CEO for RTA. So this is based on female leadership. It lends a different lens of management and communication, and it's just a great time to be able to see what partnerships are out there that maybe haven't been explored yet. Those are a few of the new inductees along with myself. I was sponsored by or nominated by Debbie Berry who has been a great partner with us through the capital planning, engineering, and service development through the private and public sectors. So I appreciate Debbie, always a great person just to be able to bounce ideas off of. And we appreciate just being able to have RTA in the room at those conversations. With that, that takes me to the end of the presentation. Unless there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions to the general manager? Very good, full report. Thank you very much. As far as my report is concerned, you heard most of it as you heard the general manager. I do want to call your attention over to my right. We now have our official sign for parades and et cetera. I want to thank Minor and her whole committee quickly put that together. So when we are out and about, we have a nice little sign. Isn't that nice? And I wanted you to see it. All right, is there any old business? Any old business today? Any new business? Not public comments on public transit related items. Anybody here? Anybody here with any public comment? You would let me down if you had not gotten up. Yeah, come right on over.
Good morning, everybody. Congratulations that we get one of the important committees we want to benefit the whole organization and community together is actually happening. Then, of course, we look forward to the next one, which is the one for all the riders, consumers. However, I have noticed that our training on new drivers are still very pressing. Lots of the flaws you can still see has been constant. For example, the bus can be parked properly, docked properly on the platform or the sidewalks or not. Our weather is changing. Very soon, we probably will encounter snow again. Even recently, we have not got a huge amount of snow. But in order for everybody have a safe ride, we do really need to make sure that all the drivers can, skillfully dock the vehicles properly, either at a platform or sidewalks. And also for the buses having either the kneeled features or the folding ramps, I think we do need to check them and make sure they are mechanically sound so they can perform properly for riders. And also, this will encourage lots of the riders who don't normally will be able to go around places to ensure that they are confident, they can really come out, do something they need to do, even during the harsh weather time. And I'm glad to see finally I can see the people with the blue vest conducting surveys. However, I'm still encouraging our CEO to ensure that the questions based on riders' point of view will be incorporated into our quarterly survey, which Noble has presented that issue. And I think that we should continue to make efforts to make our business even stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here with a public comment? Anybody else? If not,
We have one caller.
all right.
Go ahead, caller.
Okay, this is Eric Stewart again, and I was hung up on from the previous call and completely disconnected. And to India Birdsong, India Birdsong Perry, my name again is Eric Stewart. My name is not the previous caller, as your name I give when I addressed you. It is not the customer service or customer advisory committee. It's called the Community Advisory Committee. And if you weren't so hung up on catchy abbreviations, you would know that. And you should have also stated why it's taking so long for this community advisory committee to be put back in place, because it surely could have studied and given some authentic results on why you should not have gotten that $300,000. And I believe that's why it wasn't put back in place. And you keep running these commercials about getting everybody go together on RTA. RTA has a social economic responsibility to the well-being of the public through the implementation of public transit. The 15A should be put back in place because there's 61 stores at Pinecrest with a 15-acre service. In addition to that, the 15-acre also service Shaker Square, which the city has given $12 million to, some of which they have to pay back. I did make an error when I said that the 15A would go by within 3 blocks of 5 hospitals. There's only 4, but that's still good service for the social economic well-being of the public. The 48A should be put back in place with the 48 and the 50, and the 48A and the 50 should run with about 15 hours in a 15-hour period, 5 days a week, and somewhere between a 13 and 14-hour period on the weekends, once an hour, where they will complement service to the 48. More people are going to get on that 48A and get to Shaker Square and spend money at shopping that you talk about in your commercials. And to Raj, you need to stop giving these averages, and you're not going to tell what the averages are based on as far as
Mr.
numbers.
Stewart, that is 2 minutes in the
If
back.
you really want to
That
give
is
the
2
public an
minutes.
honest understanding of what...
All right. Any other calls?
Do we have any more callers?
No more callers.
Anybody on the web forum?
No web forum comments.
Thank you.
I always hesitate to make the statement I'm getting ready to make because it sounds like we're bragging, but under our administration, we started off with a tech department of 1. Now we have a full department. We have transit ambassadors. We have now the 2 boards that will be operational. We have the setup of our board, that their participation is met at various events and so forth. But I'm very proud of what's gone on. And when he said earlier I didn't say anything about it, I just don't like to sound like we're bragging. But I think we have a very good board. Anybody agree with me? All right, the next regular board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 31st, the boardroom here. And you can have a live stream. You can come in person. We'd be glad to have you. We have a motion to adjourn. Oh, do we have the instructions for
Yes.
our Dr. Caver?
Yes. If I could ask the COC members to remain, we will conduct a swearing in after the close of this meeting, where we'll swear you in up here, and we will be taking pictures.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Never debatable. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
God bless you.